Well, I'm here in the library of MDI High School with Davonne Pappas, who's the librarian, and this is our weekly segment about Meet the MDI Teacher. Now, Davonne, you may have visited our website for to see the video all about the books. And Davonne, that's your inspiration, correct?
It is, yes. I came up with the idea at the beginning of the school year because I wanted to find something that would be fun to do to promote the library, but also to inspire the kids. And so I started going through the process of figuring out how we were going to make it and who we would use. And my daughter Ella, who is a freshman, and I wrote the lyrics, and Jeff Zayman, the film teacher, and I worked on the storyboarding and the ideas for scenes and trying to mirror some of the ideas from the original video. And then Matt Lawson also was involved, a history teacher here, and also does a lot of recording as a musician. Yeah. And so he helped with recording Mary Ellen, who did all of the vocals.
Well, I mean, that's been seen now over 100,000 times. I mean, talk about going viral. I mean, I know most radio stations in Maine have picked it up on their website. I want to say WDEA was first, but you know, I mean, it's just amazing. And to talk about getting people to love books, that's a special way to do it. And I know that as a librarian, that's something you're passionate about.
It is. I think that the video went viral for a few reasons. The first of which is that it was just a really high quality production. The recording was great. The singing was great. Mary Ellen Sharp did an amazing job with all of the vocals. That's all her that you hear on that video. And then the filming was wonderful. The idea was really good. The lyrics were great. So everything sort of came together in this wonderful alchemy to make the video so great. And then, like you said, the message is something that everybody can really hold on to, and it resonates with them. And it is something that I'm passionate about. I love books and reading, and I love getting books into kids' hands. It's the best part of my job. And so I'm really very happy with the fact, not just that the video has been seen, and now it's like pushing 200,000 on YouTube. So not that it's just been viewed that many times, but it's inspired teacher librarians across the country and even in other countries to be doing things like this. There are performances that are going to be done with our lyrics. And that's, to me, is, you know, that's really exciting.
Oh, yeah. I mean, and, you know, you talk about kids reading and things like that. It's unfortunate. My boys hate to read. And I think, you know, schools, they want everyone to be such readers. And I think they did it, they grew up in Bangor. Mm-hmm. They had to read. They had to read every night. They had to read every night. They had to have it signed that they read every night. And I think that the pressure just got to them, and it became something that they didn't like. Mm-hmm. Whereas, give me a Kindle, give me my iPad, right, and let me get stuck in traffic, and I'm happier than can be because I can read all day.
Right. Right. I think it's true. There is a lot of pressure for kids to be reading, and I try really hard. I see kids like that every day in the library that are not, they don't consider themselves to be readers, you know, and I think that that's where you start to get a distinction with kids, is when they start taking that on. I like to always say to those kids that they just haven't found a book that is for them yet, and there is a book out there for them to become a reader, and it's never too late. You know, it really is never too late to become a reader. It doesn't matter when you pick up a book for fun for the first time. It could be when you're 98 years old, and you can still be a reader. So,
I mean, books can take you anywhere and everywhere, whether it's a Harry Potter series or history, mm-hmm, or a biography or fiction or murder mystery. I mean, it can transport you everywhere.
It's the cheapest way to travel.
Exactly. Exactly. I mean, and they're just fantastic. Yeah. And they ought to be your friends.
Yes, absolutely. And we have a really strong collection as far as books that support the curriculum here at the high school library. But we also have a really strong, excuse me, we also have a really strong fiction collection, for that very reason. I really want kids to be able to come into the library and leave with something that is exciting to them. We are developing our graphic novel section by leaps and bounds because there's so much interest in that. And it's not just Archie comic books anymore, it's not that kind of thing.
Oh, there's nothing wrong with Archie's.
Nothing wrong with Archie comic books. I grew up reading them.
I did too.
But they're so beautiful, the graphic novels now. And so we work really hard on making sure that there's something for everybody here at the library. So whether it's reading about biographies about people or real world fiction, like for stuff that teenagers really have a hard time grappling with, it's a great place to sort of try something on for size and see how it fits with you and how your emotions are without actually having to experience it yourself. So it's a great way for kids to really get out there and explore.
All right, so what's the job of a librarian? I mean, I worked in college at Middlebury library. I closed the library up every night. I used to have to walk around all the book stacks and make sure they'd turn off all the lights and make sure nobody was in there. And it was spooky in there. I mean, it was. Do that at midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning.
Right.
And I'd occasionally shelf a book and stuff like that. But what does the librarian do besides manage the Dewey Decimal System?
Right. So many people are surprised to learn that as a librarian you have to have a master's degree because they're like, you have to know your alphabet and be able to count, like how hard is that?
Exactly.
But there is so much more to that, to being a librarian. And part of it is what you described. There is a lot of it that's the care and keeping of the collection. And in a high school library, it's also the care and keeping of the kids who come in here. So there's a lot of sort of day-to-day things of checking in books and checking out books and putting books back on the shelves and cleaning, making sure that the books are clean. And I have an assistant who helps me. Her name is Joyce Mahoney, and she's fabulous. She was a teacher librarian in her regular career. This is sort of her retirement career. And she and her husband just moved up here, and she's great. Anyway, so she does a lot of that sort of day-to-day housekeeping, taking care of numbers, all of that stuff.
Going around telling people shh and
right.
stuff.
Although I do that a lot too.
Oh, okay, good.
And then what I do, because she does that, it frees me up to be able to do a lot of the curricular work that I do. I, as a teacher librarian, am often paired with other teachers in the building to support them in the use of things like research and technology and things like that as they embed those things into their curriculum. And as we move towards standards-based education, that becomes even more critical to support that process and to be there as a resource for them, but also as a resource for the kids. So I do a lot of teaching. I also do a lot of book ordering, which is probably one of my favorite parts of my job, especially when the books come in. It's like Christmas. Lots of packages to open. And, I statistical information, and I manage the budget for the library. And so there's a lot that goes into it. A vast majority of my day is spent doing the curricular piece, doing the teaching or working on the actual curriculum.
Now, when we were talking before we started filming, you're a graduate of MDI High School.
I am. I graduated a long time ago.
Well, come on, it's not that long ago.
It feels like it was that long ago. 1988, I'll just say it right there. It's 1988 I graduated. So, and Mary Wallace, like I said, she told me that I'm the first graduate of the high school to actually come back and be librarian. Lots of people leave and come back, and we have lots of graduates as teachers, but apparently I get to be the first librarian.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I've never been happier. I was an English teacher before I became a librarian, and I loved that. I'm so passionate about reading and writing. But when I knew I didn't want to to go back into a classroom, I wanted to do something else. I've always sort of had in the back of my mind that I should be a librarian. And so I finally went to school to do that. And I couldn't have been happier to have this job. It was meant to be, I think, for me in my life.
And that's what's so incredible is that, you talk to the teachers that I've spoken with so far, and they're like, this is my dream job. This is where I'm meant to be. And, I don't know how many people can say that in their career that, yeah, this is my dream job. This is what I'm supposed to be doing and where I'm supposed to be doing it.
Yep. it's definitely true. There have been people who I've talked to after the whole All About Those Books video that have said, oh my gosh, the next time I call, you're going to be gone. You're going to be off doing something else. And I said, well, I hope not, because this is where I want to be. I mean, we talk about librarians, once you get a job, you know, you love it so much and you don't ever want to leave that they end up having to scrape your face off of the keyboard when you die because you stay for so long. And I can see myself here happily doing this job forever. I mean, as long as I can, you know, continue to do what I am doing and bring what I bring to the job, I hope to be here for a long time. Absolutely.
All right, so you've got 4 children.
I do.
And ranging from ages from what? 18
to 7.
That's a
big range.
Big range, and it's a tough job. And
it is.
Working and.
It is. My oldest daughter, Jane, just went to college last year. This year.
Where did she go?
She went to the University of Maine at Orono, which she loves. She's so happy doing that. She's studying marine sciences, and she's thrilled to be there. And then I have my son Riley, who is a sophomore, my daughter Ella, who is a freshman, and then my baby Samuel, who is in 2nd grade.
So how is it having your kids here work at the surrounding you?
It's great. I love it.
Yeah.
I think that it really is, it's a matter of personal preference, I think, and also the kids' personal preference. I'm divorced, and so that sort of like bonded my kids to me pretty strongly, and so we tend to like to be around each other a lot. We get support from that, and that just being our personal experience. And so it's been wonderful. I've loved having my kids here, and it's never really been an issue. I knew that my younger daughter Ella, who's a freshman this year, I knew as soon as she hit the high school I was hardly going to see her, and that's pretty much true. But she does come in pretty much every day for lunch, and so it's nice. I really like it. But I know other people who, not because they don't get along with their kids or anything, but they just kind of do their thing, and it's separate, and that works for them too. So,
my wife teaches at Nokomis High School.
Oh yeah.
And my older son went 3 years with Nokomis, and even though we lived in Bangor, through a principal's agreement. And it's true, I mean, the two of them bonded extremely. I mean, they drove a half hour each way.
Right.
They talked to each other. And,
right.
I mean, they really cemented that relationship because they spend so much time together.
Yep.
It's a neat thing to be able to do.
It is.
And as long as you get along.
Right. Well, and also you get to know sort of the ins and outs of things. So I know that, you know, if my kid ever got in trouble, I'd know about it pretty quick.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's good. And also I have a real sense of my own kids' progression through the school and their ability to be out on their own afterwards, which is really nice too.
What's the best thing about teaching here at MDI High School?
Ooh, that's a tough question.
Come on, you watch some of the videos. You know the tough questions.
The best thing about teaching here at MDI High School is probably, well, it's, I think, twofold. One, the immediate community of the school itself. The teachers here are really amazing, and the administrators here are really amazing, and we all work to build a strong community. And I think that makes a world of difference for the kids that we send out of here when they graduate. So I think that immediate circle of community is one of the best things. The second part of that is the next outer ring of the outer community with the surrounding towns, our towns, supporting all of the work that we do, and knowing, you know, and trusting that we're doing a really good job, and focusing on making sure that we do that, and having that support from the community. Just, I mean, you can't ask for more than that when you're in education.
It's nice not to really have a question as to whether the community is going to support the budget.
Right.
Or, you know, if you need something, the community's there. I mean, and that's kind of a special thing about living on an island.
Yep. It is.
I mean, there are good things and there are bad things. I grew up in Bermuda and Block Island. Before I came to Maine, I lived on Block Island, and people know everything as to what's going on.
Right.
And that's good and bad at the same time.
Right, it's true. And, I think that kind of sense of community allows for a lot of the things to happen here at the high school. Like, we partner with so many community business people and artists. And, I mean, there's so many resources that we have available to us as a result of being a relatively small place where people know you. And so that all just works to the benefit of the kids.
Where did you go to college?
I went to the University of Maine at Orono for my undergraduate degree. For my graduate degree, I went to Clarion University, which is part of the University of Pennsylvania.
Okay. And what's the one thing that no one knows about you that you're ready to confess to right now? And you know that was coming. You saw the video.
I knew it was coming. I thought long and hard about this because
I should have mixed it up a little bit.
I'm such a geek, I literally wear my emotions on my sleeves. You'll find me often, dancing and singing and getting kids to do the same thing in the library. I mean, You
can dance and sing in the library?
Oh, sometimes. In the morning, when the morning announcements are playing and they have good music going. Oh, yeah. I taught kids how to hustle in here. Like, I have no problem. That's right.
Yeah, I know. I danced to the hustle.
So I have no problem being a geek. I just let it all fly. So it's hard because when I get excited about something and I'm passionate about it, people pretty much know. But I thought about it, like I said, long and hard. What would people not know? And there are some people who do know this, I know, but I think the majority of people don't. That I would really love to learn how to weld.
Really?
Yeah. It really fascinates me and scares me at the same time. And
it's that whole flash dance thing. Yeah, right? I knew it. I could tell.
Right. It's really the leg warmers that I'm interested in. So yeah, I've talked to Bruce Munger about it. Like, I really think that it would be such a cool skill to have, but it's also, if you look at some of the stuff that he's done, it's artistry, and it's beautiful. And like I said, big and scary and fire and metal, and I don't know, it's kind of exciting. So that would probably be a thing I think that people don't know about me.
What's your favorite food?
Oh my gosh. That would probably change depending on whatever, day it is. But my favorite food right now, let's see. I think probably anything Mediterranean. Really? I love hummus and olives and flatbreads.
It's all very good for you.
Yeah,
it's healthy food.
I love that flavor, that spice, lots of spice, and I love that.
All right, so you told me that there's going to be a part 2 about the books coming out in the spring. Do you give us a little hint as to what's going to happen?
Well, we're going to start planning the video starting after the holidays, and it takes a bit of planning. This video came together pretty quickly. It actually took about a month, which, in that production time is actually not bad when you're considering all of the schedules and timing and all of that stuff. So after the holidays, Jeff and I are going to start talking about it, and we're planning on having it done by the spring. And I think that the only thing I can tell you right now is that it's going to be about research, which is a little bit harder of a sell, I think, than books. But I think I've got my target audience with librarians and teacher librarians and kids who need to know this kind of information. And in the world that we live in now, where it's lots of information, fast and entertainment as well.
Yeah, I have one in my office.
Thank you, Bunky. Okay.
Then I think I think it'll do well. So we'll have to see what's popular at that time.
And as I'm sitting here thinking about it, when I was growing up, there weren't music videos, but it was conjunction junction. What's your function? This is really just taking that whole Schoolhouse Rock and making it into 2014.
Yeah, it's funny that you say that, actually, because that thought crossed my mind as I was thinking about this, because I loved Schoolhouse Rock when I was a kid, and they did it for every single subject, math, history, all of the grammar stuff that you never wanted to learn, and it was brilliant because
you remember it.
Right. In a little teeny tiny section in between the, Saturday morning cartoons, you had this learning moment that was singing, and you found yourself singing about, I'm just a bill.
Well, Saturday Night Live did that this past weekend with a whole thing about that as well.
Yeah.
All right, you've got the camera. What do you want to say to everybody?
Ooh, that's hard too. I mean, I think that libraries are so important, and that books are so important in kids' lives and everyone's lives. And I personally, there's a whole lot of controversy going around about books or ebooks, or, you know, are we going to go digital, and are we ever going to have bookless libraries? And my personal feeling is that it's not going to be sometime in the near future where that happens. There are some places who are already doing it. I think it's a matter of community choice. But libraries, in and of itself, institutions in our schools and in our communities, play such a role in opening doors that wouldn't otherwise be open for people. And we do that by the services that we provide, and also by the books that we provide. And so hopefully you'll support your local library.
Well, that's this week meeting an MDI teacher, Davonne Pappas, the head librarian here at MDI High School. And as you can tell, it's more than all about the books.
That's right.